Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be starting with part 1 of dental amalgam. As this is a little long chapter, we'll be studying this in two parts. So in part 1 we'll be talking about each and every element, their function and the different types of dental amalgam. Before I proceed further, let me tell you what amalgam is. It is a very important chapter on respect of your dental materials subject, and you can definitely get this one as a long question. Now moving to the terminology, what do you mean by dental amalgam? So firstly, that this is a restorative material. I hope you know what is a restorative material, which is used in restoration wherever we have caries. So dental amalgam is defined as a restorative material which is made up of alloy and mercury. So it is not just one element, but it is a mixture of different elements which lead to the formation of a dental amalgam. Moving to the next, that is uses of amalgam. So as I just told you, we can use it in restoration, in class 1 cavity, in class 2 caries and in class 5 caries you can use amalgam. Now amalgam is actually silver in color. If you have ever saw amalgam, it is silver in color. So we cannot use it in areas where it is very much prominently seen, like in anterior region, in the canines. We can never do restoration from amalgam because aesthetically, in view, in appearance, it will not look good. Fine. So aesthetic is very important point of view, and so it is usually used in areas which are like posterior teeth, the buccal surface or the lingual surface of the posterior teeth, which are not that visible easily. Now it can also be used as a pits and fissure sealant and in co-build-up. And you can definitely get this as a viva question, that who gave the terminology or who gave the dental amalgam as a terminology. Now this is a viva question and you have to remember the name. It was Dr. G.V. Black who gave amalgam. Now moving to functions of each element, as I told you, it is not just one element but it is a mixture of various elements. So coming to the first element, that is silver. Remember, if silver is not there, amalgam is not there. This is the major element which we have. It usually whitens the alloy, decreases creep and increases strength. I know you very easily know what is whitening the alloy means and what is increasing strength means. The term which is new is creep. So further away in the video itself, I will tell you what creep is, but for now you can remember that it decreases the creep. Coming to another element, that is tin. Tin basically controls the reaction between silver and mercury. As you know, anything in excess can be harmful. So it basically controls the reaction. Also sometimes it decreases the strength and the hardness and can decrease resistance to tarnish and corrosion. Moving to the next element, that is copper. Copper usually increases the hardness and the strength of the material and also leads to setting expansion. Now why is it a good feature? For example, if you have done any restoration and in future there is no kind of like any gap or any micro porosity is being left there or any kind of micro leakage chances are there, then expansion can fulfill that space, and so it is a good factor. Zinc. Now the next element we are talking about is zinc. Zinc basically acts as a scavenger or a deoxidizer, can be said any one of those two terms. Now the word here, scavenger and deoxidizer, both have same meaning, that is they prevent oxidation. They do not let the material to oxidize easily. Another thing, it leads to delayed expansion, which is a complication of amalgam restoration, which we will be discussing in part 2. Moving to the next element, that is mercury. Mercury is basically helps in more rapid reaction. Next is platinum. Platinum hardens the alloy and increases the resistance to corrosion. The next term we have is palladium, which hardens the alloy and whitens the alloy. Another one which whitens the alloy is silver. Now coming to the terminology creep, as I just told you about creep in the previous slide, it is basically defined as time dependent plastic deformity. Now try to understand, anything which we have in our life, with time it can get deformed, right? Everything is going to get deformed with time. Similarly, you see in this restoration, at this particular time, from some places it is being chipped off, it has got discolored from some places have been, from some places it has dislodged. So this is actually time dependent plastic deformation or time dependent changes. So according to the ADA specification number 1, the creep should always be less than 3%. Now coming to the classification of amalgam. Amalgam is being classified on various bases. The first classification which we have is on the basis of the copper content. Now talking on the basis of copper content is very important, as this one is the major classification factor. Now we have the low copper content and the high copper content amalgam. Low copper content amalgam are the ones which have copper content in them which is less than 6%, okay, less than 6%. High copper content which have more than 6% of copper inside them. That amalgam is said to be a high copper content. Now coming to on the basis of zinc content. Now zinc containing are the one which have zinc from 0.01% and more, and zinc free are the one which have got no zinc or the zinc level is less than 0.01%. I hope I'm clear till here. So on the basis of copper you have two, that is low copper content and high copper content. On the basis of zinc you have zinc containing and zinc free. Now on the basis of size of the alloy particles, we have two sizes, micro cut, macro cut. Micro cut are the one small particle size, macro are little larger particle size. Now you come on the shape of the alloy. The shape of the alloy can be lathe cut, spherical or spheroidal. Now spherical will give you a smooth kind of surface as compared to the spheroidal one. Moving on the number of alloyed metals which have been involved, this is the last classification which we have. Then on this classification we can have three types: binary, tertiary and quaternary. So binary is actually silver containing silver and tin. Tertiary will have silver, tin and copper in it, and quaternary will have four components or elements, that is silver, tin, copper and indium. So this was the whole classification. If you get a long question, you are supposed to write the classification on all the five contents: on the copper content, on the zinc content, size of particle, shape of the particle and the number of metals which are being included. Moving ahead, what is the basic rule or what is the basic method or procedure of mixing dental amalgam in clinics? So the basic procedure, the very first step we have is trituration. Okay, this is the first step of mixing of amalgam, that is trituration. Let me first tell you that how amalgam is usually supplied to us. So either these are always in two different forms. You will get silver separately and mercury separately, and you will have to mix them at the time when you are treating your patient. You do not have to mix it before 2 days before the patient's appointment. No, you have to mix it on the spot. So different packets are there. Either you can give a capsule of silver and a capsule of mercury, or you can get a sachet of silver and a sachet of mercury, or you can get it in bulk also, like big bottles and big boxes. So the main objective of trituration is that we have to wet all the particles of the alloy surface. We mix mercury inside the silver. So for example, let me tell you, there are two ways of trituration. You can either do the hand mixing or you can do the mechanical mixing. In hand mixing we use these things. This is a mortar and a pestle. Now what we do, we put silver in this and then we will add mercury into this, and with the help of this we will mix whole of that mixture, and we will make a smooth paste. That smooth paste is a kind of proof that now every alloy particle is wet with mercury, and that is known as trituration. Now another which we had was hand trituration, in which we use a mortar and a pestle. Another one is the mechanical trituration, in which we use this amalgamator. Now these amalgamator are machines like this. What you can do is you get capsules of silver and you get a capsule of mercury. You will put both the capsules inside this amalgamator and you will start it for 5 to 20 seconds. Okay, and immediately it will mix both silver and the mercury, and a homogeneous mass will be created which can be directly filled in the cavity which you have prepared. So usually if you see from appropriate, accurate technique and time saving, then you have to go with amalgamator. And if you're going to a budget friendly site, if you're a student, then you can go for a mortar and pestle, but usually amalgamator does the job better. So in hand trituration, as I told you, you use a pestle and a mortar. Using palm and thumb and also the pen grasp technique can be used. It takes more time, needs more experience, and needs some experience, a little experience. Using amalgamator and pre-weighted capsules are present. You just have to fit the capsules here in the machine and start the machine. Then using an amalgamizer with mechanical dispenser, accurate proportions should be known and it saves time. Moving ahead with three different type of trituration. Now what can happen is, when you're usually hand triturating, you can either triturate it normal, you can do over trituration, or you can do under trituration. So if you do under trituration, that means if you have not mixed or if you have not kind of pestled it properly, what will happen is there will be rough or grainy surface, there will be less strength, and it will harden very easily, very quickly it will harden because there is low mercury content, and also on hardening it can easily chip off. Chip off means break off. So this is when this happens when you do under trituration. Now coming to the normal mix. In normal mix you will see a shiny surface will be there, soft consistency will be there, it can be a little warm, especially when you are using an amalgamator, and it increases resistance to tarnish and corrosion. This is what you see in a normal mix. Coming to over triturated. Now for example, you have over triturated the mix. Normal से थोड़ा सा आपने ज़्यादा mix कर दिया है. Now the mix is soapy and it is difficult to remove from the capsule or from the mortar and pestle. It will stick everywhere. The working time will decrease. It will take a lot of time in setting, and the creep is also increased. Coming to step 2. The step 1 was trituration. Step 2 is mulling. So mulling is basically continuation of trituration. What we do is, after we have mixed the mass properly in a mortar and pestle, we will keep the mass on the palms, and you can also use a mulling cloth which is available in the market, or you can directly keep it on your palm, and you will mix it with your thumb in a kneading kind of way, so that all the excess mercury moves out, and again it is homogeneously mixed. If any thing was left or any consideration was left, it has been depleted here and it mixed completely homogeneously. Now it also improves the quality of the mixed mass, and homogeneity is also achieved here in this condition. Moving to step 3, that is the last step of mixing of or filling the cavity with amalgam, that is condensation. So in condensation, what happens is, it is basically that amalgam is placed in the prepared cavity after mulling and trituration and packed using an instrument. What do we do in the term condensation? The condensation terms means condensing anything, filling anything. So in this step what we will do is, we will fill the mass in the prepared cavity. You see, we have prepared a cavity first, and now we are filling this in the mixed material in the cavity. Now what is the aim of condensation? We do condensation to adapt the mass on the cavity wall, so that properly we will take a condenser and we will apply pressure on this mass, so that it eventually fills up and covers up and adapts well to every cavity wall. Any excess mercury is removed, any kind of voids are being reduced, and also the strength is increased. So for all these things, these are the aims of condensation which we keep in mind. So for the part 2, in the part 2 we will be discussing about the disadvantages, advantages and the complications of mercury and amalgam. If you like the video, please hit the like button, share this video with your friends, and please subscribe to my channel, and do remember to watch part 2 of the video. Thank you.